All right, we are live. Once again, it is Boog and Lou for True New York Sports Talk. We want to say hello to everybody. We want to thank you guys all for coming down to watch our amazing sixth show. Boogie, it was our sixth show now, and
Yo, time is flying.
time is flying, is right. And we are here. We're going to be discussing a lot of sports today. Unfortunately, our guest today, Mr. Damon White and Mr. Dar from Man Talk, could not make it today, but they will be joining us next week. So at least that's good. And Boogie, what was the reason that Damon said he couldn't make it today?
I think he said his accountant had called out sick, so he had to actually count his own money or something like that. So,
Right. Yeah.
hopefully,
So.
hopefully he'll catch up and be able to be here next week.
Yeah, so hopefully he'll be here next week. Damon's loaded, so this is how it goes. All right, Book, let's get straight into it, man. So let's talk about your Mets with your background and everything. Mr. Steven is now making some moves in the front office. Tell me a little bit about how you feel. He already fired some of the front office. He fired the GM. What other moves do you think he's going to be doing for this Mets organization, coming from a Mets fan in general?
Well, I mean, like I told you the last time we spoke about this, I mean, as a Met fan, you have to be excited because, like, just think about it. You have a owner where we're in a situation probably for the first time in a long time where there's free agents, big name free agents that's arriving out this year, and we're in the talks. Like teams are actually putting our names in the hat as far as being able to acquire these big names. Because obviously you heard the rumors about Lindor and stuff like that. Like
Correct.
Real Muto, like all these people are involving the Mets name now. Something that's unheard of when the Wilpons own us, because obviously they want to nickel and dime everything. But now with Cohen, it sounds like he's definitely going to get at least one or probably two big names this offseason. And that alone is exciting as a Met fan. I mean, I know Yankee fans, you guys are spoiled because this is
Hell yeah, we're
every
spoiled.
off season thing for you guys. But this right here, as a Met fan, like this is like uncharted territory. So I'm excited right now. It's not even a season. I'm excited right now just to see what they're gonna do. As you see, he is starting off with a clean slate. He kicked out Brody. He kicked out
Right.
all everybody that had to do with them. So now he's even going to set up. He's going to try to at least set up like an all-star cast in the front office.
Right.
So just think about that. Not only is he going for the top players, he's going to try to go for top management so that he can stay in a winning situation. Like that's something like refreshing to hear as a Met fan. Like he's starting from top to bottom and trying to make it happen. I mean, no, obviously there's no guarantees, but at least the fact that he's trying and the excitement is here, in the off season. That's
Right.
something that's so rare, and I'm so happy to be part of it. Finally.
Let me ask you. Also, as a Mets fan, do you want players like JT Realmuto and Trevor Bauer, who are like the top free agents for the Mets, for the MLB right now? Like, to me, I mean, I know we've spoken about this already, but you did get rid of Wilson Ramos, right? Your starting catcher. So you do
Right.
technically need a catcher, but is JT Realmuto like really worth $200 million for the contract that he wants? In my opinion, no. I mean,
Yeah, he's not really. He's definitely not really worth that. I mean, he's probably the best catcher that's out there right now, and he's probably going to get overpaid by somebody. And not for nothing, the Mets don't have a reputation of paying anybody big time money like that, or anybody that's worth getting paid big time money. So, don't be surprised if they end up overpaying for somebody. I mean, I'm
right,
not saying it's going to be him, but I think they're going to probably overpay for somebody just to say, hey, listen, we landed a big star free agent.
right.
So I mean, hopefully, I can't really say whether I want Real Muto on the team or not because I mean, like I said, I want to see what moves he might. Obviously, that's a situation we have to address. We have to get a catcher, and obviously, he would fill a lot of the needs that we need because he's a good catcher on offense and defense. He handles the pitching staff amazingly. So,
True.
I mean, obviously, like he would fit, but as far
But
as
is
that
he worth the
contract,
$200 million he wants?
yeah,
Probably
that's a
not.
lot, and that probably would hinder us signing anybody else. So I don't know about that signing, but like I
I
said, like
mean,
we're gonna have to see.
Listen, I totally understand, like, especially like you're the new owner, you want to kind of prove yourself. Like, listen, I've told you that I'm going to be bringing people in here, so I'm going to bring in stars like JT Realmuto and possibly players like Trevor Bauer, who Trevor Bauer is in the running for the Cy Young Award this year in the NL. And I just think that uh, if the Yankees want to get involved with someone like Trevor Bauer, that they're going to probably always outbid uh, someone like the Mets. And I'm not saying that the Mets aren't, like, Steve Cohen's not going to start spending money, but I'm just saying in general that, like, the Yankees usually, because they have
Right,
money, they're going to overdo it, give Trevor Bauer a shit ton of money and say, hey,
right,
listen, come to New York,
right,
to the Bronx, I should say. I mean, and you also like Chris just said too, you also have George Springer. George Springer is a big name that, I mean, if you're someone like George Springer, do you want to stay with the Houston Astros where you grew up, right? You grew up with Houston, but you're also involved in all those cheating scandals as well. So do you want to
right.
make like a new name for yourself by going to a new team, or do you stick with like your brother-ins of Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa and stick with them to build another dynasty per se? Because I mean, let's face it, when the Houston Astros went to the World Series 2 years, we all thought that was going to be like a dynasty thing, right? Like, these guys are going to stick
Right.
together. Even I thought Garrett Cole was going to stay. They made it to the ALCS without Garrett Cole, without Justin Verlander. So it's
Right.
kind of like, does he decide to stay with the Astros, or is he going to be like, you know what? I want to start fresh and clean somewhere else. So
Yeah, I think
let's
he I think he wants to probably detach his away from the cheating scandal. Now that they've been exposed and they had their little run, I think that run actually probably might be arriving to an end. So he probably want to have a clean slate, like you said. I mean, he's not young per se. He's one of the young. I think he's like 30. He's gonna be 31 next year. So
right.
uh, you know what I mean? Like, so he's probably gonna be looking for like a big contract. So the Mets are in a situation where they can give him like probably the 5 year deal he's gonna look for. But
Right.
most teams are probably only gonna offer him 4.
Yeah.
So like I said, they'll have an advantage. I mean, he has a good glove, obviously, out in the outfield. So he'll be a great fit for any team that's looking to be a contender. And I know the Mets are one of the teams that want to be a contender.
Right.
So
See, and that's the thing with like someone like George Springer too. Like, the Yankees don't need an outfielder, but you know what the Yankees are going to do? They're going to fucking get him anyway because that's just what they do.
yeah,
Like, yeah. I mean, I know they technically got rid of Brett Gardner, but they could still technically sign him to another 1 year deal. But now, if you're the Yankees, you have Clint Frazier, you have Giancarlo Stanton, you have Aaron Judge, you might re-sign, like I said, Brett Gardner, and now what? You're going to sign George Springer too, and possibly Trevor Bauer. And as Chris is saying that, yeah, Cohen is a wealthy owner, but
right,
I think just because of straight pride, that if the Yankees got outbid, that the Yankees are going to even outbid him even more. Just
right,
because they never get outbid. That's not
right.
something from the Yankees that happens. When have you ever heard of a situation where, and you have Hicks, where do you ever hear of a situation where the Yankees got outbidded by another team? Like, so in my
And let
honest
me tell you, this
opinion,
is going to be the year where I think that the Mets are actually going to try to be that team to go toe to toe with the Yankees, and I think that's going to be fun with the fans and actually just watching it as a baseball fan.
right? No, of course, I wouldn't. I would love to see that, but I think if you're the Yankees, you go for Trevor Bauer. If you're the
It will help.
Mets, you go for everybody. Um, but
But you know what though? Let me tell you, I think the Yankees need Bauer more. Like per se, because their starting rotation is very, very like shaky. Like you don't really know who's arriving back next year outside of Cole. Are they going to re-sign Tanaka? Like
I think that, well, they
Montgomery.
already got rid of Hap. Hap is not coming back.
Right,
Hap's gone.
absolutely. So now
Hap's
you got,
gone.
you need Bauer. The Mets, just think about this. If the Mets sign Bauer, right, you have DeGrom, Bauer, and Syndergaard, and there's that kid Peterson. Like that's a pretty good starting five. I don't know if Stroman was trying to arrive back or not because I know they gave him his qualifying offer, but he might
Right.
reject it and go elsewhere. But I'm not saying he's a star, not like that. But we are that was solidify the Mets rotation crazy. But the
Right.
Yankees, I believe, will probably pay the top dollar for him because they really need pitching help. You
I
know?
wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees went after Stroman either, too. I wouldn't be surprised if they went after Stroman, if
Yeah,
they
I
went
mean, you
after
saw the trash
Bauer.
talk he was talking, and he was talking down on the Yankee pitchers, just try to get himself in that situation, get himself noticed by the Yankees. So I wouldn't be surprised by that either.
Listen, Johnny Damon did the same fucking thing when he was with the Red Sox. He
Yeah,
he
yes,
was
he did.
talking so much shit about the Yankees when he was with Boston, especially when they won the World Series. And then the
Yeah,
following year, he signed a deal. He signed a 6-year deal with the Yankees for $100+ million. So
right.
it's all bullshit. You know what I mean? Everyone just talks shit about everyone. It is. But if you're the Mets, I really think you need to go after anyone you possibly can, just because you know like you guys didn't even make the playoffs. You had 8 teams. You were one
In
of the
a terrible
favorites.
situation. Yeah,
Right.
that was
You were one
terrible.
of the favorites to win, and you guys didn't even make the playoffs. So to win the division, I mean, and you guys didn't even make the playoffs. So it's kind of like
Yeah,
you need some kind of boost to kind of help you guys, just to give you guys some momentum, because it's,
yeah,
and you have new man. Everything is new now. Everything is new.
everything,
So fuck
everything.
it. Just do it.
Yeah,
But the Yankees do need pitching really bad. Um, I think if the Yankees are going to be a contender, you need somebody like Trevor Bauer. You just do. I mean, look at the World Series this year. The teams that made the World Series this year had the best pitching in each division. That's just how it went.
mm-hmm.
So if that's going to happen, that's going to happen. But anyways, all right. So let's move on for a quick second. I want to talk some football, Boogie, because my
What a week!
man Danny
What a week!
Dimes delivering to Washington again,
What a
Mister
week! What a
Mister
week!
Four
Very
and Zero.
stressful.
4-0 against the Wild. Did you see that? Did you see that stat yesterday? By the way, with Danny Jones, he's 4-0
Listen,
against the Washington football team. He's 1-16 against everyone
I
else.
know
So
I had
let's
made
just play
that post on
Washington
the
every
things. I was
week.
like, I wish we could play them every week.
Right.
Every week.
Let's just play him. But you know what? Yesterday, let me tell you a little bit about the game yesterday. So I watched the whole thing. I know. Listen, we know that this team is a train. Like not only want to say a train wreck. We know that this team is entertaining, but they're disorganized, right? But they're entertaining. At least they keep every game close. They're not getting blown out. It's not like watching the
Sickening.
Jets, right?
It's sickening.
So Daniel Jones yesterday, and I don't know if it was because they were playing Washington, but he looked super, super confident yesterday. Super
Yes.
confident, like he knew what he was doing.
He followed the game plan finally. That's what he
Right,
did.
and he didn't get nervous. That's what I loved
Yeah.
about him yesterday. He did drop the ball twice. Once was out of bounds, but one he recovered. But he didn't
Yeah,
throw
that
an
fumble was
interception.
good.
Actually, the interception that got turned back was one that was on Evan Ingram. And
Definitely on Evan. I was screaming at the TV.
I was screaming at the TV too. I was calling him a cocksucker. I was so mad yesterday with Evan Ingram. I was and like Chris was saying right now too, the Giants were trying to lose that game yesterday. You're up 20-3 against the Washington football team.
Can I interject on that?
Yeah,
Chris,
go for it.
you're absolutely correct. Because not for nothing, right? This is something we keep seeing every week. In the fourth quarter, whether they have a lead or whether they don't have a lead, they have to do the same scenario over and over again. So this time, our defense happened to step up and get us an interception, right? Because Smith, he threw a wild pass in the middle of the field. His receiver jumps to try to get it. It tips up and we catch the interception. So every Giants fan hype, right? That's supposed to be the
Super
turning point
hyped
of the
up.
game, right? No, we get the ball back and we spend 18 seconds on a 3 and out. Like the first play is a throw. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what's the game plan here? Like, this is the making of a losing organization right now because it's about to be the 2-minute warning, and the first thing you do is try to throw a screen or a pass in the backfield. I mean, why are we throwing the ball? We had success running the ball, so why aren't we doing that to burn clock? Right. We just got a key turnover, and the game plan is to throw the football 3 and out with 18 seconds left. So when we had to punt the ball, I said, "Here we go! Like this is how you throw a game away." I was like, "What kind of stuff is this?" So then they punt the ball, and I'm like, "All right, let me get my beer." And for some odd reason, Washington has proved to be worse than the Giants because then he gets baited by Logan Ryan. throw it right to him for another interception. And I said, there's no way they can lose this game now. You know,
Right.
so it's like, why do you have to go to your professional team? I know this is your first time coaching, Judge, but I mean, what's going on here? Like, I mean, I'm a regular guy, and I know that this is not how you're supposed to run an offense at the end of the game. Like, what kind of? I don't understand it. I mean, you can't blame everything on Daniel Jones. That right there was not on Daniel Jones.
No, not at all. Daniel Jones played a
Now
great game.
that almost fumble that he had when he had the football over his head and got tackled from behind, where I didn't even want to look at the screen because I knew that was going to be a fumble. Somehow, some way, he didn't fumble that football. I don't know. Maybe
Boogie,
just because of Washington. I don't
saw
know.
him like this, and I saw the guy coming from behind. I said, "That's a fumble," right away, and he held on to the ball. That was the biggest play of the game. Him holding on to that football.
Crazy.
Biggest play of the game. But also, one thing that I've learned about the Giants is that the Giants are now NFC quarterback killers. I guess, right? NFC East quarterback killers. I'm gonna play a quick video for everybody. I want you guys to see what the Giants did yesterday. All right.
The way the official waved to the training staff immediately.
So let's watch this.
Antonio Gibson, he tries to cut block.
That leg is on the other way. Look at that leg is the other way, Book.
Gets over it, and as you see, kind of leg whips Kyle Allen.
That leg is the other way, Book.
That doesn't look
like
good.
You seeing that play? Like, I was saying this as it happened. Like, he didn't go for his legs. He got tripped. And that's what he was trying to explain to the ref. I mean, I know you got to call the call because, you know, that's an illegal play, but he didn't go to make that play. He got tripped.
He wasn't trying to ninja kick.
So I know he's not going to get fined or nothing like that, but Jesus Christ, that was such a bad luck for that guy.
No, Chris Allen's fucking knee popped out of his socket. That was
ankle,
horrible.
I believe, right? He got a dislocated ankle. Yeah.
No, they said that's that. I forgot what the actual official thing was, but he's done for the rest of the year.
Oh,
he's
of course.
For the rest of the year.
Of course.
So that's two quarterbacks that the Giants have taken out now in the NFC East. So now all that's left is to kill freaking Carson Wentz, because Carson Wentz hasn't gotten injured this year yet, and he gets injured every year anyway. So, and they played them this week.
It seemed like the Giants never defeat the Eagles. So they probably have to do something like that in order to get a W.
Right. But listen, one thing I will say about Daniel Jones, his passer rating yesterday was 134. Very efficient. And it also showed that, you know, he was also throwing it to rookies, you know, like people who we never even really heard of. Mac looked great yesterday.
Yeah.
Great yesterday. Yeah. Golden Tate who?
Tate? That should make Golden Tate be very, very humble. You know,
I know.
You did all that complaining, and now your understudy arrives over here and just takes over. I mean, not take over, but he was significant in their offense.
He was a big deal for them. He was a really good playmaker for them yesterday, and I was very happy to see Daniel Jones actually be efficient yesterday. And the offensive line, listen, the Washington football team's defensive line has 4 first-rounders on it. 4 first-rounders on it. They're young, but they're good football players. And Daniel Jones only got sacked once yesterday. So the fact that he only got sacked.
Well, that also too, you know, they had really quick plays. They was doing really quick offensive plays to give him like less time to think. You know, because thinking that's where he gets killed. You know what I'm saying? When he starts overthinking. But they actually game plan for him to be successful. But like I said, let's not get crazy. It is Washington. It's the only team we can.
It is Washington, right? No, I get it. And listen, but it's still nice to see him gain a little bit of confidence, because the first 5 games of Daniel Jones do not look like the last 3 games of Daniel Jones. I'm sorry. The first 6 games of Daniel Jones are not the same Daniel Jones as the last 3 games of Daniel Jones has been.
You do see a little improvement. And that's
you definitely do.
Yeah.
And listen, maybe we're just being optimistic Giant fans because we're being a little biased because we want to see Daniel Jones succeed. But at the same time, there is a reason why he got drafted. And I see the potential there. And yesterday was a good way of seeing that, in my opinion, is why they drafted him for that. And now look at Dwayne Haskins. He's not even getting fucking dressed for the Washington football team anymore. He's not even getting dressed for them. So what does that say about everybody who said that Dwayne Haskins was the right move to pick over Daniel Jones? Obviously not. Because right now, if that was the case, McCoy would be our starting quarterback right now, because I think Dwayne Haskins would have gotten benched too. So, you know,
we'll be in the same boat as the Jets if that was the case.
Right, exactly, right. We might even be worse, to be honest. We might even be worse.
If that's such a thing, is there such a thing as worse than the Jets? I don't know.
No, I don't know. We'll talk about the Jets right after. I got to talk about one other thing, Boogie. I wish I can go back to the video last week when Boogie Hollis said the Buffalo Bills are not Super Bowl contender teams. All they have is an easy division, and they can't beat these good teams. And that would be your
So
headline.
they got one win. So they got one win against a terrible defense, and now all of a sudden they're Super Bowl contenders.
They beat a really good team,
Wow.
Doug. They held it up against.
Where's your Bills shirt? Because that's what it's sounding like right now. Holy
Dude,
cow!
Josh Allen came
I'm not going to take it away from
play
him. He had
yesterday.
an amazing game. He had the game of his career. He did. He definitely took the team on his back because I'm looking at the game like, wow, this guy, they scoring like left to right at the beginning of the game. I was like, is Seattle even going to do anything this game? I mean, obviously Seattle made a little bit of noise to arrive back, but it wasn't really a contest. Like Buffalo had this game. Like Seattle showed what their weakness is. Like not taking it from Buffalo, but Seattle showed their weakness. They are one-sided, offense only. They cannot play any defense. You know, and I mean, Allen, he was like damn near perfect. You know, he was very accurate. You know, and he ran and threw for he got 4 touchdowns. Like
he had 3 passing touchdowns and 1 running touchdown.
Yeah, he did his thing.
He did his fucking thing. Is right.
I'm not taking that away from him, but let's not think too crazy, you know.
So let me ask you though. Seattle obviously, and listen, the Chiefs even yesterday too. They almost lost. They won 33-31 against a weak Carolina Panthers team, and they almost lost that game too. So my question to you, Boog, is that are we going to see in the Super Bowl this year 2 offensive juggernauts play against each other in the Super Bowl? Or does it seem like that now that teams know what the weaknesses of these good teams, are we going to see like more of a balanced Super Bowl per se? Because like last year, right, we had the very offensive Kansas City Chiefs against a very defensive San Francisco 49ers with like an okay offense, right? This year, everyone's talking about Chiefs Seahawks. But is that going to be the case this year? Or are we going to see more of like a balanced like team in the Super Bowl? Like, I don't know. Seahawks perform like they did yesterday. They're not going to the Super Bowl.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, Chiefs have never been called a defensive team. Like the Chiefs are offensive juggernaut. So when you talk about defense and offense, the Chiefs are overwhelming, you know.
Yo, Boogie, you're sitting in a kindergarten seat right now.
Sorry, I want to make sure we got the whole Mets, you know, thing going on right here. And I don't want to sit in front of it, so that's why I'm here in the corner right here. Okay, so if you want to call my seat a kindergarten chair, whatever.
Sorry, continue. I'm sorry, I just couldn't resist. I'm sorry. Right.
I don't even know what I was saying anymore.
No, but listen, the Buffalo Bills, I think, can surprise a lot of people. Even Anthony agrees too that if they get hot, I think that they're going to be a tough team to beat in that AFC. I mean, listen, right now it's all about the Steelers, right? They're the only undefeated team left in the playoffs. But they did almost lose yesterday to the Cowboys. So it just shows that I think teams are starting to get tired as well right now. So because they're getting tired and because teams are starting to figure out other teams' defenses, that we're going to see a really interesting last couple of weeks here. I mean, I know we're only in week 9 right now, but this is when it starts to get crazy, like especially with the extra team who makes the playoffs. So now you have like teams like the Cleveland Browns, who some of our fans are like, oh, they're a shoo-in, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? Now you have the Las Vegas Raiders, who are 5-3. The Colts are 5-3. The Dolphins are 5-3. Like, you're not secure at a playoff berth just yet.
Where's Jeff Carolla? How about those Dolphins, huh?
Tua, baby. Tua. I did not think that they were going to beat the Cardinals yesterday, especially after.
I mean, he didn't do much until the end. That last drive, you know, that's where he did his thing. So, you know, shout out to them.
No, shout out to them. It's true.
That was a big shock too.
Crazy. I mean, listen. The thing with, like I was saying last week too, is that if Tua is not in that game, and if Ryan Fitzpatrick, everything is different. Everything is different. So because he didn't do a lot offensively, he still did plays that led to their team winning. So we can't look at it like that. That's how you have to see it. Tua is 2-0 as a professional NFL starter. And
which is not easy to do.
Which is not easy to do. No, he has no interceptions. He only has 1 fumble. He has 3 passing touchdowns. It's not the worst thing.
But see, the thing is, they defeated Arizona Cardinals team that's supposed to be one of the top teams in the NFC. You know,
Right.
Kyler Murray, and stuff, and cool. So that actually was an impressive win.
No, it
You know?
was. I mean, they scored 31 points. It wasn't like they didn't score either. It was like they scored 31 points off Miami's defense, and Miami scored 34 points. I mean, it was interesting. It was interesting to watch.
Also, too, let's not forget, it wasn't all Allen in that game for Buffalo. Like their defense, like they attacked Wilson. Well, he got sacked like 5 times. He intercepted. He got
they messed him up.
2 picks. Yeah, fumbles. Like they were going after him. So
they messed him up.
It was kind of like a really balanced attack, like on offense and defense. So you got to give defense credit too on the Bills because they haven't played like this all season.
No,
so that was a completely different team that I saw on Sunday.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so that brings to today's football game, the New York 0-8 Jets versus the 2-5 New England Patriots. Boogie, when do you ever think I would have told you that the New England Patriots are 2-5 playing against the New York Jets who are 0-8? Do you is that ever something that you would have ever heard ever, especially under Bill Belichick?
Not in the Belichick era, definitely not. Cam Newton, he started off on fire, but now he fizzled out bad. Like I don't even know if he's going to be retired next year. Like that's how bad he's playing. He turns the ball over a lot. I mean, he had one crucial turnover last week. Trying to win a game. So if he can't defeat the Jets, then they just might not let him start the rest of the season. You heard it here first.
No, they might start that other kid, that young kid that they drafted in the end of the first round. What's his name? Stamford or something like that. Whatever the fuck it is. But they might. I wouldn't be surprised if they start using him. I mean, at this point, you're 2-5. You want to try to make a playoff run. You got to win against a team like this. You have to win against a team like the New York Jets. You
know what? The Jets are so stupid. Watch them win this game.
Boogie, I swear on my life, I was just going to say I wouldn't be surprised if the New York Jets win this game today, straight up. Not even with the spread. I wouldn't be surprised. The spread is -9.5. I would not be surprised if they win this game just because Bill Belichick wants to just keep fucking over the Jets for a possible first-round pick. You know what I mean? Like maybe Bill Belichick's plan is to be the worst team in football so they get Trevor Lawrence. And then
that'll be his next Tom Brady,
right?
You know
what I mean? Let's just give it to the Jets so that we can possibly get Trevor Lawrence. I mean, listen, I don't know. Sam Darnold has been playing a little bit better than he usually has the last couple of games, except he's really good the first half of football. He is horrible the second half of football. So do I see this being a 10-10, 10-14 at the half, and then someone taking over the game? Yeah, 100%. I
don't see this being a high scoring game. I don't know what the odds are saying, the over under, but was it 42? I think it's 42.
42.5. Yeah. It's 42.5. I wouldn't be I might go under on this one. I might go under on this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets win this game outright. I really wouldn't. Because New England's defense is absolutely atrocious too. They're horrible.
Yeah. Their offense is atrocious. Their defense is atrocious, just like the Jets. But the Jets have no plan. That's right.
Sam Darnold is out tonight because of his shoulder. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Right. So you got Joe Flacco.
And you saw what Joe Flacco do. Nothing.
Yeah, Joe Flacco runs 30 yards the other way. Okay, so the Patriots might actually win this game today. The Patriots might actually win this game for today. That's right. But Joe Flacco might be like, you know what, man? I'm 36 years old. I still want to play football. I got to beat this New England team today. And he just start. And I know Crowder's finally.
Frank Gore.
Frank Gore too.
Frank got Gore, the Gerald Toll League starting.
Frank Gore and Joe Flacco are probably the same age equivalent to the whole offensive line of the New York Jets. There's just and Adam Gase is just like at this point, you know what? I wouldn't even want people to fire Adam Gase. Just let him finish off this season 0-16 so nobody ever hires him ever again. Please.
He'd be the new coach type. Yeah.
Right, exactly. He will be a assistant coach for some college football team next year or something like that. You know what I mean? Like some offensive coordinator. But this is going to be his last year. He fucking knows it's going to be his last year too. So I don't even. I mean, but the game should still be a little bit interesting tonight just because of how bad the Patriots have been playing. So,
right.
Do I think the Jets covered a spread tonight? Yes, I think they covered a 9.5. Do I think they win the football game? I'll give the Jets about a 20% chance to win the game. I'll say one out of every 5 chance the Jets will win this football game today, just because of how bad the Patriots are.
They're so bad. I don't even see this game as being exciting.
It's a horrible Monday night football
I didn't think the Dallas game was going to be exciting, so you never know.
Yeah, so can we talk about that real quick? So real quick before we get into basketball, because I want to talk about Mike D'Antoni and Amari Stoudemire joining the Brooklyn Nets. What do you think that the Dallas Cowboys are thinking right now? So Dallas yesterday almost beats the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday. Now, is this more of a Dallas came out to show that they can still compete and possibly win a division? Or is this that the Steelers just didn't game plan accordingly for Dallas because they underestimated them just a tad bit?
They might not have underestimated Dallas per se, but they might have said, who is this guy at quarterback? That's what they probably said. Like, how do we game plan for somebody we don't even know?
Right.
And this guy actually outperformed everybody that quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys outside of Dak Prescott. I was like, who is this guy?
He looked the best between Andy Dalton, that high school quarterback they had the previous week. I don't even remember his name.
Garrett Gilbert. Like, who are you?
Yeah, right.
Can somebody in the chat tell me who Garrett Gilbert is? Did anybody know about this guy prior to yesterday?
He got drafted 3 years ago, and he's been the backup of the backup of the backup for a very, very long time. And he got his first start.
And he's like 29 or something like that. Like, he's old, right?
He's an older dude, right? Yeah, he's an older quarterback.
Who is this guy?
I don't know, but he almost took them to beat the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday.
I'm telling you, if he ended up defeating them, he probably would have just solidified a starting job for the rest of the year.
For the rest of the year, right? Yeah, of course. No, of course.
He still might, to be honest with you.
Right. I mean, well, who else are they gonna play anyway?
He was better than that guy last week that they had.
That's what I'm saying. The guy from Madison University. I forgot his name, but he looked like a high school kid. He couldn't even get rid of the ball. It was awful. It was awful. But Steelers are the only undefeated team now.
They made that a game.
Not
for nothing. The Steelers don't really blow teams out like that anyway. So they kind of play to their opponent's level as it is, which is that's why it's so scary that they're undefeated. Like they could be undefeated all they want, but I just don't see them. I just don't see them like defeating the Chiefs. You know, like I just don't see it. You know, like
I honestly think they have a hard time against the Bills too. I think they have a hard time against the Bills too.
I can't be wrong. I could be wrong, but I just don't think. You know, like I said, I know Ben Roethlisberger is definitely a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's spreading the football around and everything.
He's spreading women's legs.
The defense is so you got like a so-so offense and a defense. I just don't see them going all the way, but then they can catch fire at the end, as if they're not on fire now. But I mean, like, their gameplay can probably catch fire as the season goes on, because now they got all of their wide receivers back from injury. So maybe they're gonna, come up with some type of game plan to get their offense better than it is now. But right now, it's hard to defend them because you don't know who they're gonna go to, because you got James Conner arriving out the backfield and he catches passes, and then you got, like I said, Schuster, and you got Johnson and. Yeah, so you got all these weapons. You got, and then Claypool. I'm sorry, Claypool. You got all these guys. You got all these options. So that team is kind of dangerous, but I just don't feel like they're a Super Bowl team. You know?
Yeah, I mean it's going to be hard to see, but if they get the number 1 seed, I mean, like you said, I mean, who are we going to see that could beat the Chiefs right now? I mean, the only ones I can really see being the Chiefs right now are the Titans. And I think the Titans and the Bills are the only 2 teams that could really beat the Chiefs if anyone could.
Steelers defense is good, but it's not great. You understand what I'm saying? People score on the Steelers. So they're good, but they're not like a contending defense, bro. Like people score on them.
I mean,
So
Daniel
I mean,
Jones had
yeah,
his
it's
best
not
stats
terrible.
career. Daniel Jones had his best stats this year against the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, and that was the first game of the year. I mean, that
Yeah,
was
they're
also the
not
first
like
game of the year. But the Steelers do have a good defense, but I'll tell you right now, the Steelers defense is better than the Chiefs defense. They're better than it's probably a little bit better than the Bills defense. So
I don't know. The Bills showed they have defense yesterday. If
no,
they
they
could be
did.
more,
They did.
they'd be
They did.
dangerous. Then.
They sacked Russell Wilson 6 times yesterday, which is
That's
insane.
what I'm saying.
6 times yesterday, which is that hasn't happened to him in years, they said.
Yeah.
Which is pretty insane. All right, so Book, let's talk about some quick. Oh wait, real quick, while we're on the topic of football, I just have to talk about. So how about that Bucks game yesterday with the Saints?
Oh my God, Tom Brady looked his age.
Oh my God. Tom Brady has never been shut out like that in the history of his career. He's been playing football 20 years, Boogie. He's never been defeated like that in the 20 years that he has started in the NFL. What does this say for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team? And what does this say about this New Orleans team now that they have their full strength with Michael Thomas back?
Well, first of all, I know Tom Brady was finally saying, "I miss you, Bill. I miss you." Because
you think it was?
look at the game plan that they had. They rushed the ball, 5 times the entire game? So you relied on Tom Brady the entire offense.
The entire offense.
On top of that, you played zone defense all game against Drew Brees, who eats zone defense.
Right.
Are you serious? Like, is that what you're going to do? First, did you see that when he threw that lollipop straight to for that first touchdown right in the end zone? He was all by himself. They biting on one receiver, and the dude was all wide. I said, what kind of defense are they playing? I said, if this is the type of game that's going to go down, then this is going to be a long game for Tampa. And sure enough, was. I was like, man, they're not running the ball, and they're playing zone. I said, I don't know.
Tom Brady's quarterback rating yesterday was 40.
Yeah.
40. That's how bad it was yesterday.
Washed up.
40. Right, and there was also a stat that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the last 15 years have not won a divisional title. So this is the year Tom Brady's on the team, Gronkowski's on the team. You have a young Mike Evans, a young Chris Godwin. We're gonna take it, and then they got fooled. They looked horrible
Bobby said
yesterday.
The fans were quiet.
Yeah, no, exactly. All the Tampa Bay fans were quiet yesterday. All the Tom Brady fans were quiet yesterday. All TB12. Yeah, TB12 got destroyed yesterday. He got sacked a bunch. He threw 2 horrible interceptions that I've never seen Tom Brady do. Like, he just chucked one up in the air at one point, and I think it was Lattimore just had the easiest interception I've ever seen from Tom Brady ever.
He must have thought he was playing the Giants or something in the Super Bowl. I don't know.
Well, hey, listen, don't be saying that, because last week the Giants almost beat the fucking Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, so you owe me $10.
I thought that the Saints were going to defeat them, because I said, if they have this type of problems with the Giants, how are they going to defend Drew Brees? And sure enough, they got white.
Bet you owe me $10, by the way. I should have taken that. I should have only given you 4 points, and I still would have beat you. You gave me 13.5. Thanks for that.
I'll get my bet back. Don't worry.
No, but listen, Tom Brady, he'll be back. There's no way. Listen, the Bucs are making the playoffs. We know that they're going to make the playoffs. We know that Tom is going to excel in the playoffs. Will they make the NFC Championship game? Probably. Okay. I mean, that's just. I'm just being
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, the only competition in the NFC is Seattle, Arizona, and them. That's really the only 3 teams out there. So it all depends on who they play. But
you have the Saints now, right? I mean, the Saints are at full strength.
Oh, right. You're right.
Right. But now, like people were like, "Oh, Chicago. What is Chicago doing? Chicago's not even in the playoff run right now. Chicago sucks. They're horrible." I whatever. All right, so let's move on to some little basketball, Boogie. Some little basketball. The Brooklyn Nets signed Mike D'Antoni.
The forgotten team.
Yep, the forgotten team. They signed Mike D'Antoni. They signed Amari Stoudemire to help with the bench work with Steve Nash. What are your opinions on this, Boog? I know you're a Knicks fan. I'm a Knicks fan too. But is this going to be a helpful tool for the Brooklyn Nets, having a rookie assistant coach with an experienced head coach with another unexperienced head coach on on the floor with the Brooklyn Nets. Like, what do you expect out of the Brooklyn Nets with these new additions to the staff?
Well, to be honest with you, I think that this whole thing was put together so that Kyrie and Durant can basically run the team. Like
Okay.
not like how LeBron runs the team, but like basically they're gonna have their ways. So basically, it's gonna be the way they want it to be run. Steve Nash, I mean, he's been a floor general his whole career, so it's not like he lacks the knowledge. I mean, you've seen the transition that Jason Kidd tried to make becoming a coach, and it's not an easy transition, even if you have that kind of IQ. So, trying to have grown men do how you design things is not as easy as it sounds, regardless of how much point guarding you've done in the league. So,
Correct.
to me, to be honest with you, I think they got a coach where they'll allow their stars to be their stars. Now, I know I was discussing this earlier. I mean, the Nets are going to be dangerous, regardless of who is going to be coaching, because without their two main stars, they were a playoff team.
Right.
So now you already have pieces on the team to be a playoff team, and now you're going to add two bona fide stars. So most would say, how can you go wrong? But now, like stuff that I'm reading, like they're trying to get rid of Dinwiddie and stuff like that. So I mean, depends on what they get for him. But like, why would you get rid of your main pieces? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not the stars, but they're the glues to the team.
Yeah.
So another on the other aspect, as far as the management is concerned, Nash is an offensive-minded point guard. We all know that.
Yeah.
D'Antoni, he brings offense. So D'Antoni is an offensive mind. Udoka is the defensive guy, supposedly, right?
Right.
But will they actually be a defensive team? I don't see that. And that's the thing. We're in a time where defense is not highly regarded, but we've watched the finals the last couple of years. You got to have some type of defense. And I mean, Durant's a good defender, but we don't know about his needs. Like
Right.
he's a big question mark. Kyrie Irving, he's always hurt. So are those two guys going to last the whole season? That's a big question.
That's going to be the main question more
We're
than
going to be relying on them heavily. So as long as they can be healthy, I'm pretty sure they're going to be contenders from the East.
No, listen, I'm not saying that the Nets aren't going to be contenders. My thing is that a perfect example is when LeBron went to the Lakers his first year. Okay, yeah, LeBron got hurt, but even though LeBron was hurt that year, the Lakers were still a 500 team with even when LeBron was playing with that team that first year. So
Right.
that's all and that has to do with new coaching, new players, new atmosphere, new everything. So my thing is that are the Nets going to have similar problems to like when LeBron went to the Lakers that first year, just because of because there's so many changes, right? And I know that the Nets still have Allen, they still have Lovert, they still
Levert. Yeah,
Levert,
but they still
sorry.
got Vaughn. They still got Jacques Vaughn as a coach, like Still said.
Correct,
so
right.
he's that experience that they have in a coaching rank. So they're not completely unexperienced in the coaching ranks because they got him.
Right, but here's my question though too, is that are the Nets going to the NBA Finals next year if Giannis stays with the Bucks, or if Toronto keeps playing the way they do, or if the Boston Celtics keep playing the way they do?
Well, first off, Giannis they already showed their weakness. If he's still on the Bucks, they showed that he needs shooters around him. So if they don't put any shooters around him, then I don't think that they have nothing to worry about. You know what I'm saying? Because they're going to shoot threes. The Nets are going to shoot threes. So if the Bucks can't shoot threes with them, because they're not going to contend. Now, if you put Giannis on like the Heat or something like that and stuff like that, like if those type of moves start happening, now it's a whole different landscape. And like you said, Toronto is nothing to sneeze at either, but they're gonna have to make some moves because I think Van Fleet is like a free agent. So
yeah,
like,
Van Fleet's and some team is gonna overpay him too. He's not.
That's what I'm trying to say. So it's too early to tell as far as those teams are concerned because they got a lot of moving pieces that's still happening for them. But as far as the Nets is concerned, all they can do is improve. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, they're on paper, they already look legit.
Oh,
so they're and it's going to be a lot of pressure on Nash because they're definitely one of the favorites to arrive on out the East to be a championship team.
Right.
So
I guess I'm just concerned how Durant is also going to fit here in New York as well. Um, listen, I think Kevin Durant is one of the best NBA shooters in the game. Yeah, of course. Do I think he's probably one of the top point power forwards of all time? He's probably up there. But my thing with Kevin Durant is that I always had a lack of respect for him because of what happened with the whole Oklahoma City Thunder going to the Golden State Warriors after losing to them and then joining the 72-9 team. You know, I'm like the 70, like, so that whenever I think of Kevin Durant, that's just like what I think of. Even though when he was a free agent, I wanted him to come to New York.
right.
But he also is just, I want to see him succeed in Brooklyn, but at the same time, it's just like, you know what, Kevin, I just don't have respect for you. And part of me wants to not, I don't want to say I want to see him fail, but part of me just doesn't want to see him do well. Like, just because of everything he's done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hate to say that about a New York team, but Kevin Durant just rubs me the wrong way. And now I don't know how he's going to fit in Brooklyn. I don't think he's going to be a great fit here. I want him to prove me wrong for Brooklyn Net fans' sakes, but I just feel like he's not going to be a good fit. That's just,
see, my worry isn't Durant per se as far as his gameplay and stuff like that. I worry about his knees. Are they going to be able to or his ankle? He got is the ankle or his knee? It was ankle, right?
He ruptured an Achilles.
Achilles. So I'm concerned about his ankle. To be honest with you, will it be able to hold up? But then my second thing that I'm worried about is Kyrie Irving and his locker room presence, because he's a little one of those guys that's a little weird. Like he gotta have his way in certain weird ways. So he kind of like a little.
I don't like players like that.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to say diva, but he's definitely in his own world per se. You know what I'm saying? But he's friends with Durant, so I mean, so that should help. But the thing is, what about the rest of these guys? These young guys who already had this culture here, and now these two stars are here to change it. So that's the thing. Like, will they mesh? Like, because you saw how it was when he played at the beginning of the season. He was taking over, and then all of a sudden, like, you saw them have like a dip. They didn't play as well. And then all of a sudden now he's hurt. Quote unquote. I think he just didn't want to play, but they hurt, and then they ended up getting it together. So that's what I mean. Like, we got to watch that chemistry that Kyrie Irving has on that team.
Here's the thing: whether Kyrie Irving likes it or not, and people can disagree with me with whoever's watching, Kyrie Irving needs somebody like Kevin Durant to make him better. And the reason for that is that Kyrie Irving proved that in Boston, that when he went to Boston, he couldn't take a team to a championship on his own with all these young kids. He didn't have, he had Gordon Howard, but Gordon Howard hasn't been the same since he had that horrific leg injury. He hasn't been the same. Gordon Hayward. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. He hasn't been the same since that. He took under a Jason Tatum under his wing, who is now, I think, a great leader for Boston, even without Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie Irving always needs somebody like Kevin Durant, the same way that Kyrie Irving needed LeBron James to win in 2016. That's just how I see it. So I hope that Kyrie and Kevin make each other better, and I hope that they really like get the team going and like do well, because I do want to see them succeed. But I just don't like Kevin Durant. I just don't. I don't like him. And Chris asked the question. Why should have he stayed in OKC? It's not about him leaving OKC, about staying with OKC. It was about him going to the team that he lost to in the Western Conference Finals when he was up 3-1, and then he couldn't beat, so he joined them. He could have joined any other team, but he joined Golden State, which is what pissed me off the most about that. That's like the Houston Astros going to the World Series with the Dodgers, and then Springer, Jose Altuve, and Justin Verlander joined the Dodgers the following year after losing to them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't like that. I think there should be rivalries in sports, and I understand that people want to win.
It's a whole other game now, so you don't expect too much of that. A lot of these guys are friends, and that's just what
friendship.
Happens.
Fuck friendship.
A whole other game, it's just.
Well, listen, when I was in Little League playing against my friends, I didn't get to ask if I could change teams to go play with my friends.
Things weren't like that back then. You're old.
Well, I never got asked if I wanted to change teams. Just play with the team that drafted you. You know, like fuck. I know LeBron and Chris Bosh and fucking Dwayne Wade started this whole super team thing. I get it, but at the same time, have a little bit more self-respect, Kevin Durant. That's all I'm saying. If you're watching this, Kevin Durant, you should have had more respect for yourself.
I understand your frustration with that, but it's not like he went on the team and sat back and let Curry and Clay do their thing. Like he went up there and took over. Like he was actually the main guy over there.
He
in Golden
was.
State,
He
you know what I'm saying?
was.
So it's not. So it's kind of a little. I mean, like I said, I understand. I understand where you're arriving from, but he made it his team kind of. You know, like it still was Steph's team, but I mean, Durant was the guy. He was the go-to guy, and he just made that team even more great.
Right.
If you can make a team greater, but he made them even more great. You know, so it's
right.
You know, it was a good fit for him.
And as Chris is saying right now, yeah, technically the Celtics started that with Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. I know that, but LeBron James was headlined.
That's a little different because the GM put that together. They didn't consort with each other on the side and make that team. So that's a little different. You know,
right.
like Rondo was drafted, you know, and Danny Ainge, you know, said, hey, let me get Garnett out of this losing situation. You know, hey, Ray Allen, let me sign this guy. These guys weren't planning on being on the team together, you know, so that's a little different situation.
Right. And you know what's funny? How come nobody wanted Carmelo Anthony when these super teams were made?
See, Carmelo Anthony needed to learn how to share the basketball. That's what I think. But you know, his best friends didn't want to join the Knicks. I don't know if it was because of him or it was because of Dolan.
Yo, I can tell you right now, Carmelo Anthony with Mike D'Antoni going to Brooklyn, Carmelo Anthony's not going to the Nets. That's for sure. There's no way Carmelo Anthony goes to the Nets.
Melo played with D'Antoni in Houston, right?
Right. Well, that's why he stopped playing with them. Because Mike D'Antoni goes, I can't have this fucking guy on the team. You know? I had to throw in Melo in there. I just had to throw in Melo out there.
You know, Melo gets a big reaction in this group chat. So
yo, Carmelo, listen, I wish Carmelo Anthony the best.
Well, speaking of Melo, you see he's doing his videos right now, his workouts and his shooting drills.
Yeah, he looks great.
So somebody gonna pick him up, I believe, because I mean, it took a long time for the Trailblazers to pick him up, but
someone will pick him up.
He showed that he still got something left in the tank.
Yo, if he comes back to New York, man, I swear to God, I swear to God, if he comes back to New York, I don't even know what to say. I really don't even know what to say.
Well,
all right, so
if he arrived back to the Knicks, it's not gonna be in the same capacity as it was when he was here.
Oh no, not at all.
You gotta know that.
No, not at all. Yeah, Hoodie Melo is definitely better than NBA Melo, as Chris just said. Hoodie Melo is 1,000,000% better than NBA Melo. All right, so real quick before we end today's episode 6, I do want to talk about the AL MVP race really quick. Our very own DJ LeMahieu is a finalist for AL MVP, and the reason why I bring him up and only him up at the moment is because no other Yankees have any other awards that are given out at the moment besides the golden, like the Gold Glove and stuff that was already given out. But the 3 finalists for the AL MVP is Jose Abreu from the Chicago White Sox, Jose Ramirez from the Cleveland Indians, and DJ LeMahieu. Now, if DJ LeMahieu wins MVP and the Yankees do not give this fucking guy at least a 5-year contract, I will be very disappointed with the New York Yankees. DJ LeMahieu
might scoop him up from you guys.
I know. I wouldn't be surprised. Listen, DJ LeMahieu is the only player in MLB history to win the batting title in the AL and the NL, right? He's the only player to ever do that. Okay. The guy is super clutch. He's a utility player. He can literally play any place on that field. If you don't give this guy at least 5 years to have him lead off for us for the next 5 years until he retires, I don't know what the Yankees are thinking. The team would have lost about 10 extra games without DJ LeMahieu there this year. And in my opinion, Jose Abreu had a good year too. And I understand the whole 60 game thing is whatever. But Jose Abreu, he didn't bat 364 like DJ LeMahieu did, right? Jose Abreu has always had a lot of home runs early, a lot of RBIs early. Like, they want to give it to Jose Ramirez too. The guy had 10 stolen bases and 17 home runs. Like, who gives a shit? Like, both the Indians and the White Sox got eliminated from the first round of the playoffs. So I don't even want to hear that, you know? And so I honestly think, and I'm not even trying to be a biased Yankee fan, I think DJ LeMahieu deserves it, you know, and I think he should be the NL MVP. And I think Freddie Freeman should be the NL MVP for the for the National League. That's just my opinion.
Freddie Freeman is definitely the poor man's Chipper Jones, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah, for sure. And Freddie Freeman is a very good ball player. I definitely can see him being a Brave the remaining time of his career. I just really hope DJ LeMahieu wins it. And you know, if
he wins it, and then Cohen signs him, and then
bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
And then we're ready. Perfect. No, but I really, like I said, I really hope DJ LeMahieu wins it. And just to give the Yankees something, you know what I mean? Like we haven't had anything like that. Like, our last MVP was A-Rod, you know, back in 2007. That was our last MVP. And you know,
I can't tell you when the last Met MVP was. So I mean,
yeah, but at least you had 2 Cy Young Award winners the last 2 years. At least you had that for you guys. And you had what's his name, the knuckleballer, like 10 years ago. What's his name?
R.A.
Right, exactly. Right, R.A. Dickey. So you guys at least have had some performers. Like, yes, I can actually say that this guy's on my team. Like, the Yankees haven't had that. They just haven't. They've gone to the playoffs 8 out of 10 years, and they haven't had anything to show for it. They haven't even been to the World Series since 2009. So it's just like it's crazy. You know, the Mets have. I can actually say the Mets have achieved more these last 10 years than the Yankees have. They've gone to the World Series in 2015. They've had a couple of Cy Young Award winners. They've accomplished more, technically, in my opinion. So
still no rings, though.
Still no rings. It is what it is. But I really do hope that.
But I think that's going to change very soon. Now we got new management, baby.
Right. Well, I really hope the Mets listen. As a Yankees fan, I'm not a Mets hater. Like, the Boston Red Sox can go die in a fire. I don't care about them. But I want to see the Mets succeed, especially since like I hate when Met fans say to Yankee fans, like, you know, oh, you guys suck, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, and then like when Yankee fans throw 27 championships in Mets fans' face, like, bro, you've only been alive for like 5 of them. So I don't even want to hear that we have 27 championships. Like, there are some Met fans who are alive now who have never even seen a World Series. So I don't even want to hear that, you know? So calm down, Yankee fans.
They've seen a World Series because, 5 years ago, but,
Well, I mean a World Series title. I meant World Series title. Correct. Yeah. So it's just like, like Yankee fans, like, you don't have to throw that into Met fans' faces. Like, it's okay. Like, but we'll see. I really hope this is going to be a good year. I think it's going to be a good year for the Mets and for the Yankees. And listen, pitchers and catchers report in like 3 months, less than 3 months from now. So baseball season.
I want to see another Subway Series, man, like World Series, a Subway World Series.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Again, we're going to have a redo of 2000. All right. Yeah. Well, Boog, we are done for today. I do want to thank everybody for coming in to watch us today. Also, make sure you guys follow us on YouTube and Instagram, True New York Sports. We're going to be updating we're going to be putting all the shows on there too. So if you want to watch us on YouTube, you want to check out our merch, go to our website, truenewyorksports.com. We might be having a guest tomorrow, a guest next week besides Damon and Doc. We're going to try to get Biggs on the show, right? Right, Boog?
Yeah. Yes, we got to get Biggs on the show. He's the guy behind the scenes that want to call the shots here. So
right. So we're going to try to get Biggs on the show too. So hopefully, but we'll see you guys next week. We want to thank you guys for joining in with us. Until next week, Boog, you have a great rest of your day. Let's go. Jets are going to take it down today, brother. Jets are going to take it down with Joe Flacco. They're going to take it down
today. Make
sure
you bring your coffee when you watch this boring-ass game.
Man, get really drunk before you watch this game today, by the way. All right, but you guys have a good rest of your night. Thank you guys very much, and we will talk to you guys next week. Have a good day, everyone.